Welcome everyone to Around the World in 80 Animals. And we are on number 6 already, which I can't believe, Europe. And this was a really fun one, so I'm looking forward to this. Remember, we're drawing to learn here, and this is practice for quick sketching. So we're not trying to do scientific illustration, 15 minutes per sketch, and getting in some details and information about our critters. And if we have time, we'll start a little color, but I usually can't get all the color done and talk and do everything. So we'll be moving pretty quickly. And remember, if you have questions or if something technical is going wrong or you can't see my drawing or something's wonky, please say so verbally, because I cannot monitor the chat while I've got the draw screen and the presentation going. So with that, let's get started. Right. So you should be seeing the, actually a split screen right now. You're going to see my notebook and my presentation. And
Yes.
that's great. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Welcome to Birds, Mammals, Monotremes, and More. And today we're doing Europe. And if this is your first time, welcome. I'm Roseann Hansen. I have my own Field Arts Institute, and I'm the author of Nature Journaling for a Wildlife, Master of Field Arts. And this week we birthed our new magazine, a print magazine and online as well, Exploration Quarterly. Super fun. I'm very excited about that. So where is our first stop? We're going to start in northern Spain and Portugal with this incredible creature. I've learned so much doing this research. The Iberian wolf, or Lobo iberico, Canis lupus signatus, is native to the Iberian Peninsula. It's been isolated there for hundreds of years, and it's the largest wolf population in Western Europe. About 2,000 to 2,700, over 350 packs, which is amazing, distributed over 140,000 square kilometers. And that's the densest wolf population in Europe. And that really one of the distinguishing features here, you can see he has like this white smile, a white cheek stroke that joins the white throat, and a very reddish coat. And they're pretty typical wolf size, about 71-inch body length, 32 inches tall or so. So about the same as probably the wolves in the lower 48 of the US. Oops, so let's get sketching. Now I'm going to do, I'm usually more comfortable, I'll do a little bit of pencil first because we want to get our proportions right. So I think I'll put him here. So I want to kind of mark where my ground point is going to be, so I get the proportions right. And then one thing I'm going to look at first, look at those super long legs. So if this is going to be his feet here, and his ears are going to be up here ish, they're not going to be that big. So if that's going to be where the ears are, then I'm doing the proportion thing where I'm measuring some point on his body and making sure I get the proportions right. So right now, judging the, I want to look from the ear to the snout. And so I'm measuring by holding my hand out here. If you don't know this technique, what you do is I'm locking my hand out. I'm actually looking at the screen and I'm holding the tip of the pencil down and then marking with my finger the base of the snout. Okay, and then I'm counting, I'm moving it down and counting how many head lengths. 1, 2, 3. Let me try that again. 1, Yeah, 2, 3. So what I want to make sure is when I sketch in, I'm going to do just a rough circle for the head. Just I may not even like this. I'm going to turn that off so it's no longer in the way. I may not like the shape right now, but that triangle there, snout. Now let's measure. So here's maybe going to be the tip of the ear. I want to measure 1, 2, 3. Does that work? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think I got that about right. Well, you do this enough and you end up, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. 1, 2, yeah, 3. So now that shape and this proportion works if you don't see what I'm doing. So here's a triangle for an ear. Here's a triangle for an ear. And I've got rough circle where his fur is. And then I want to mark that shape here, which is basically a a kind of a triangle. And I'll go in and work on this a little more. But then I'm going to come down and here's his fluffy. I'm doing just the shoulders, the front right now. Roughing it in, those long legs. And just work on your shapes. Don't worry too much right now about details. Let's get those shapes in. And I'm checking that proportion again to, yeah, let's see. Yeah, that's about right. And now I can, this foot's like stepped back a little. And then this one is kind of forward. And I'm not going to worry yet about the shadow of the foot behind. And I'm keeping this really fuzzy and loose because that's, he's a lot of fur there. And you've got this rough in here. And then we've got the body just barely coming. You can barely see it here in the ham of his leg there. And he's got his other there. I think I'm going to leave that. Now let's go in and refine these shapes. Maybe I can get a little bit closer here. So this ear I want to correct a little bit. They're pretty far apart. See, I can refine that. Swoops there. He's pretty, isn't he? Gorgeous. And we've got kind of the wolf smile there. This is the hard part. Let's get that nose anchored. And then the eye placement. So this snout comes up and we've got one eye looking that way. And if you need to fix that, work on that placement really well because the eyes are super important. Just lifting a little bit of that coloring off. I think I got it a little dark, and then I smudge. It's one reason I don't really like pencil. So now that I've got what I like are the shapes, I'm going to rough in with going to get my pen going because I prefer that. And since he's kind of furry, I'm trying to keep it loose. But you do whatever style works for you. We've got that lovely, I really like that, the way the fur comes out there. See how and he's got the ruff, so see how I'm just making some marks rather than trying to draw it exactly. That nose. I always call those the wolf smile. And then just a little bit of marking here. Because I'll be coming in with color to really get this going here. Beautiful colors, isn't it? And you've got this really interesting kind of fur here that comes up to meet the ruff. But don't get lost in these details or you'll be in there kind of forever. Big paws. Get those toes in. And so there's a foot back here, but it's really obscured. So we're going to do shadow and not worry about a lot of detail here. All right. There's probably a a tail back in here somewhere. So let's not forget too, I always forget the titles. So this is our number 1. This is Iberian wolf. This is Canis lupus. And then, oh, I have to make this a little smaller, signatus. And so this is Northwest Iberian Peninsula. And that's Spain and Portugal. And there are, say, 2,200 to 2,700. That's 350 packs. Wow. Exclamation point. The highest density of wolves in Europe. And they've been isolated for hundreds of years. He's cute. So I can start some color here. Because I've got just a few more minutes in this guy. Oh, I should, this is the part that I'm always nervous on. I want to ink in the eye, guys, because you can really wreck the eyes. If you just get it the slightest bit wrong. But that worked. That way I won't totally bodge the eyes. They are amber, but at this scale, I wasn't able to get that mark. Now I'm dotting some lines in here so I remember to leave his white throat and that white part there, because that's a real characteristic of the sky, and it would be really easy to forget and just go right through that. Hopefully I won't mess that up. So I'm just going to do some burnt sienna here. Because that's really the base color here. I'm going to do a fairly light wash. Can leave a little bit of the lighter highlights, because he does look like he has some lighter, almost white in here. So I'll try to reserve some white. Otherwise I can come in with a white gel pen and restore that. Tiny bit of yellow on these outer. Let me get that. See how I can make the yellow a dirty yellow. Give him some a little bit more depth to the colors. So I can come in after and hit that really the charcoaly bits too. He's got really red here. Don't forget to reserve the white in the ears. All right, I'm going to move on. He needs to dry anyway. And I can come back and really enhance and add more russet, and got to hit that charcoal too. So and get that dark in there. I'm going to go ahead and paint that, and then I'll come over it with some real dark, and we'll get those charcoal highlights too. Nice. By the way, I have pre-drawn the map for showing where. Today I decided to freehand it. Not too bad. So remember to do a map of where your critters are. And let's move on to the next animal. Okay. where are we going next? So we've been in the Iberian Peninsula. So now we're moving into parts of France. Actually, this animal is all over Europe, or it was. Very fascinating animal. This is the European eel, and it actually has 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of 5 body forms that it lives in throughout its life. And we're going to see that. You can see this here. It starts life as eggs, then it becomes it floats in the pelagic realm. We'll see that in a minute, as a leptocephalus. Then as they near land, they become glass eels like this. And then as they mature, they start becoming little eels, which are called elvers. And then they mature and they turn yellow. And then as they get to breeding age, they become silver. And then they head out. This is one of the longest migrations of a mammal. These guys leave Europe and spawn in the Sargasso Sea over near Bermuda. So as adults, they head back to Bermuda, spawn, lay their eggs. The eggs become those leptocephali, and then they float back to Europe. Another 300-day migration. And as they approach freshwater rivers, they transform into the glass eels, then the elvers, then the yellows, and then the silvers over 5 to 20 years. This is amazing, but they are in danger of just basically disappearing because it's one of the most trafficked animals in the world. They are extremely popular as a delicacy in Asia, and global sushi markets worth 3 billion euros annually. So a lot's being done to try to save this species. Really, really cool animal. So I'm going to draw the glass eel because it's super, super cool. And first, what I want to do is decide, okay, I think what we'll do is we'll put it in here, and I'm just going to kind of draw that cool body shape. And then I'll make sure I've got the proportions. Okay, so there's that shape. Now the head is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's about 8. But it's 8 heads fit into the body, basically, if you measure that. So if I estimate here, this is roughly where I'm going to do that. Then I just want to make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 7, 8-ish. That way I don't make the head too big or too small when I do the final sketch here. So got their little face there. Then my center line here is going to become the spine and internal tract of the eel, which is pretty cool. So, because they are translucent, so that will become part of it. So they're about the same width till it starts to taper off. I can probably go right to ink now. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Make sure I leave that open. And I think I'm doing this as kind of a dotted line. You don't want to do that super strong. And the eyes sit, oops, way forward, like so. And so let's dot. I'm kind of, this is an awkward angle for this. I'm trying to keep this kind of loose. There we go. Just using tiny little scribes of the pen to mark that central spine and whatever other interior organs and things. Isn't that fascinating how this develops? And then take my kneadable eraser and let's pull off some of the pencil. Hope that it's dry enough, I don't smear it. And before I start the, I forgot to do like some, my wolf was floating, so don't forget to add something for him to stand on. So this is the European eel. This always looks so weird when you go capital E to the other E. It doesn't look right, does it? Interesting. So the species is Anguilla. Hopefully you can't hear all that banging going on outside. So Anguilla. And so this is critically endangered. And it's a 3 billion euro market annually. The coolest thing, they migrate over 2 years to the Sargasso Sea. And then they spawn. And the Leptocaulus, leptocephali is plural, are the kind of larval form. Go back to Europe. Where they become glass eels in fresh water. And then They become yellow eels. And then silver. And then return. That is just so amazing. So I'm just going to hit just a few parts. First, I'm going to get it just clear water. And then I'm going to just dab in a little bit that pinky salmon color. So we can sort of approximate that translucent pinky color. Just barely here. It's kind of salmony, so I'm going to add a little yellow here. And you want that damp because you want it to kind of spread a little bit. I wouldn't color the whole thing in, just drop in bits that will help with that translucency look. And then what's really going to help is adding a shadow. So let's mix some gray blacky. The other thing I could use is water-soluble charcoal. So let's see if I got this dark enough. I don't want it too harsh. So hit your shadows here. I think that's really helping. Interesting animal. You know, I'd always heard about glass eels, but I didn't really know very much about them. Certainly didn't realize they were so in danger. Sort of got that one, this didn't quite work. Smudged it a little, that's okay. So there's our little glass seal. Nice. All right, where are we at? Okay, good. Not doing too badly on time. So what is our next species? One thing I just realized too, looking at the photo, one thing we can do when you have a little bit of darker color, come in with, where's my Let me grab this so you can just see. I'm grabbing my white gel pen. We can add a little bit of shine here. Oh, it's not quite dry enough for the gel to work. So I'll have to come back and either add the gel or a swish of white gouache, because I forgot to kind of leave that. So you got that idea there. But let's carry on. That was fun one, wasn't it? Interesting. Now we're heading up into England. And impossible cuteness. I had to look at that photo like 10 times to understand that that was not a stuffed animal. It is so darling. This is the European red squirrel, Cyrus vulgaris. I don't know how he got that name, poor little guy. Very common across Europe, but in England, they're super at risk because someone brought gray squirrels over from North America to an estate and they've absolutely taken over. So in lower England, they're really in danger. Scotland has higher numbers. They're typical large squirrel size, up to 9 inches long, plus another 8-inch or so tail, and about 12 ounces, 9 to 12 ounces, and bright red with that white belly. And like all these squirrels in this family, Sciuridae, they eat seeds, largely conifer seeds. They strip the cones, and then they really like hazelnuts, and other nuts, oaks, lots of tree nuts, but also they'll eat fungi, berries, flowers, tree sap. And what most people don't realize is these larger squirrels are also carnivorous, and so they will sample little baby birds and eggs. So also very famously, Squirrel Nutkin by Beatrix Potter was a red squirrel. So let's get our squirrel going. Too fun. Let's see, I might have to move my camera here. Oh, yeah, I don't know what that was all about. Sorry about that. There we go. All right, where shall we put our squirrel? I think I'm going to put him down here. And what we want to do again, let's get actually, I'm going to put him a little lower. Here's our ground. And let's get our squirrel shape going. Now he's just basically, I'm going to do a kind of an egg shape, a fluffy egg, just to sort of get this, make sure I got my proportions, and then we've got our head, and then I want to check the proportions. So I'm just doing a kind of an oblong thing, and don't forget these incredibly tall ears. And we're going to check the proportions on the ears. So zoom in there so you can see. I'm checking those ears for one thing. So I'm measuring an ear, and the ear, wow. The ear is 1, 2, 3. So there are 3 ears fit in the whole body length. So if I measure 1, 2, 3, I've got my proportions wrong. So what I want to do is pull this down a little bit. So see how helpful this is to check your proportions, and it's okay to rethink things, because that head is 1, 2. So the head here, I want to like barely fit 1, Yeah, so 1, 2.5 to his little belly band here. I'm just want to mark that. So now I think these proportions are better. We'll worry about his little arms in a minute. So it's got that long, narrow thing. And now I can put in these marks for the ears. And then what did I say? 1, 2, 3, 1. There's 3 ear lengths. 1, 2, yeah, 3. So 1, 2, 3. That's still not quite right, is it? But I'm gonna have to go with it because I'm running out of time and I gotta be quick. So I'm just roughing in the eyes for a minute here and this little nose. And we're going to get these ears going because this is kind of their main feature. So you want to get that arm coming down. It's sort of like holding his belly. And getting those like the little things like the nose and placement of the eyes are so important. So we've got the head coming down. I'm wondering if I should be marking in a pen now. Not sure. So this comes right down his head, right to the eye there. And then narrow here. He's looking more like a rabbit in my sketch. That's interesting. Not sure what's up with that. So let's keep this loose. He's got quite his little hands. We want to maintain this white. It's not a hard line, is it? So you want to keep it fluffy. And then that's kind of his belly, and then his feet are going to be like, you can't see them, but he's got those long squirrel feet in here. And this is his kind of a hawk. So this, I got his eyes a little off. So you can keep, noodling away until you're happy with. There we go. I think it Well, I think what I was seeing is it didn't look like a squirrel yet till I got the actual ears in. Now these tufts can go up like that. Now he looks more like a squirrel. There we go. So I can, a lot of you go direct watercolor or just pencil to watercolor. I prefer pen marks. So you do what works for you. Interesting how it looked like a rabbit until I got those ears in. I was like, what is wrong with this? Oh, I forgot the tail too. Um, I'm just keeping this nice and loose because I'm just keeping my pen marks very loose. Fluffy. That's working. Okay. Oh, and we got to get that tail. All right. Oh, and don't want to forget to tell us about the species. So this is animal number 3. And this is the Eurasian. I said European, it's Eurasian. Red squirrel, Cyrus vulgaris. So what did we get here? Let's see. Oh, okay. This is a common in Europe. But at risk in UK. Due to gray squirrel. Invasive. And yeah, we can put some size here. They're say 7 to 9 inches body plus 6 to 8 inch tail. Red with white belly. And we can put their diet. Seeds, nuts, berries, even baby birds. Everybody likes a little protein. Okay. We want to get some nice bright colors in here. Whoa. I want to boost that brightness of the rust color a little bit. Oh, sorry about that. Doesn't like all that movement. Trying to keep it not too solid here because I watered it down quite a bit because it's always better to go in light and build up your colors than to go in too dark at first. And you have to like pay attention so you don't accidentally color in that white belly. And let that dry so we can come in and make him even redder. So I've got a good underwash right now. And then we'll come back and enhance that. The other thing I can do is throw in some, let's not forget is, it's always easy to forget something for them to sit on. All right, we'll let that dry so that we can more fully uh, enhance those colors later. In the meantime, we're going to move along. So we can start on critter number 4. Just cleaning my brush here. Okay. Moving on. Isn't he just so cute? So now we're going way north. To a beautiful, beautiful sea eagle. Some interesting things about this. This is the white-tailed eagle or sea eagle. And if anyone has a question or comment or has a need for something, please say it verbally. I can see that somebody's asking in the chat, but I can't access it. It'll interrupt the program. So just speak verbally if you need something. This is the sea eagle. And indeed, you might look at that and say, wow, that looks like a bald eagle. Well, it's what biologically they call species pair, which means that they are so closely related that they can hybridize, and they are so closely related to bald eagles. However, they diverged a long time ago, about 10 million years ago in the Miocene, but they still are considered a species pair. So they're closely associated with water and generally occur in lowland areas. They breed in very far northern latitudes, so that's why we're way up in far Norway. But they occur as far west as Greenland and Iceland, and then as far east as Hokkaido, Japan. But as many animals, they are declining because of human uh, activities. So, oops, nope, that's what we want. So we're going to put our beagle, I think, up here. Get this camera set up a little better for you. There we go. It's kind of trying to draw and at a weird angle. So pick which one you want. I think I'm going to do very simple version of the flying one. And I'll want to be very careful not to like try to dive into too many details because it's actually going to be a fairly small sketch, but I love that form and those shapes. The sitting one would be easier, and I was tempted to do that, but I think that, let's stretch ourselves here. So first I'm going to, I just need to capture the shapes so I get my proportions right. So let's get the shape of the wing, which is kind of just make it like a shark tail or a leaning triangle. And then this other shape, you're just doing a shape here right now. We'll refine it. That's not quite right. So that's, when you get your shapes wrong, it's okay to back up and do it again. I'm just feeling that this is a hard one, and I'm going to give myself lots of permission to struggle because there's a shape here, the body, shape, head, and I'll be connecting these. Have I got these proportions right? Not sure, but right now I'm still just blocking in shapes, shape, shape. Right now it looks like a flying penguin. Or not a penguin, a sea turtle. So I think I don't have these tall enough. The wing is huge wingspan, like 10, excuse me, 8 feet, 8-foot wingspan. So I'm measuring there. There's a great measurement. So right now I noticed that forewing, the one tallest wing, is, if I measure it, from the beak to the tail is about the same. So beak to tail. Aha, see, I was right. So that's why we do the proportions. Isn't that great? So I can leave this somewhat if I make the body smaller. So let's take that as our shape. And remember, we're going to refine it. It's not perfect by any means. And then this is going to be beak to tail here. So there's the tail. Let me mark. And then where did I go? Beak to tail here. It's like right about here. So beak. Now I knew this one would be a challenge. So this is that huge beak. And I want to get that right. Get that head. And then it goes immediately up into that powerful. And I'll refine this as I go. But we've got that neck just goes right up. Those wings are just so massive. Here's the like so. And then I'm not going to be an exact scientific illustrator here. 3, 4. I'm just getting in some marks here because I don't want to get lost in counting every single feather at this point. Yeah, I'm just doing at this point, I'm just doing really sketchy. And then bring this body here. We've got the talons holding our fish, which is going to run into my, I'm going to have to change my fish a little bit here, so it doesn't run into the headline. That's all right. And then we've got this. I'm going to get our tail. That's the white tail, so the shapes are working. Pull this down here, and then you've got your other shape here, and it starts splaying out here like so. We got this beautiful. So capturing the shape, it worked. Details we can work on, but that was not an easy animal to sketch. So give yourself permission. And don't get, lost in the details here, because this is a small sketch for me. If you did a much bigger one, you'll probably be a little better off. I need to practice more on the bills for birds of prey. Got a really yellow eye. And at this scale, it's really easy to kind of mess that up. So you don't want to make it too dark. So let's give this guy a name. This is our 4th animal. This is the white-tailed eagle. Or sea eagle. And, oh, that's a mouthful. Heliaetus. Oh, albicilla. And wow, possibly the largest of any eagle, the wingspan. So say up to, wow, 8 feet. That's huge. And species paired with the bald eagle. Closely related. So what we want to do, so with color, I can do a lot more. I'm probably not even going to worry too much about pen at this point. You can go real sketchy on these. And like I said, boy, you could go crazy trying to do every feather, but I'm really just trying to capture the essence here. So say I'm, sitting on a dock somewhere and I just want to like do a quick capture. This is what I'm going to do. And then, if you want to do scientific illustration, that's going to take a lot more work. But at least we kind of captured this beautiful form and how the feathers lay out. I kind of messed that one up. That's all right. Remember to give yourself permission to make mistakes. All right, I need to kind of stop here or refine that later. We've got our fishy. All right, come in, I'm gonna hit the yellow beds and probably gonna have to move on because we've got a lot more to do. And it took me a while with the proportions on this guy. Is part of why I was kind of slow on him. That's okay. So I'll come back and get some nice browns in there. But overall, I think the shape worked. I kind of messed that up, but that's what we're doing, is we're learning to quick sketch. You don't always do it perfect. All right, where are we going next? Back down to more Central Europe and to this adorable little guy, which is the alpine long-eared bat, which is those little forearms are only 1.5 inches long, and they only weigh up to like 0.35 ounces across Europe from France and Spain to the Middle East and the Caucasus, so really widespread. They live high in the Alps and Pyrenees, but also at sea level and at hot and cold climates. So they are really only thing that they need to live in these diverse areas is rocky crevices, ledges, and crushed stones, which is where they make their roosts. They will eat moths, and mostly moths, but other insects, flies, and beetles they'll hunt. So let's enjoy sketching this little guy. Now, of those two pictures, the top one is really complicated. So if you have time and you want to dive into that, but then I put the other one in there because I think that's a little bit more simple to draw. So those of you who want to go for detail, go for the top one. Let's get some sketches in, and then we'll go back to our sorry, make you seasick here. What the species is, all that we'll get on the paper. So let me fix that a little bit. There we go. So I think I'm going to do the simple one because I'm kind of wanting to keep up with the time here, and I'm going to put him kind of in here, this area. And what are the shapes here? Well, those ears, and we're going to start with 2 triangles for those ears because I want to get those proportionally right. So do your triangles. Don't worry yet about like exact details. So then let's measure. I'm measuring the ear on the right from the tip to the base where that leaf-like structure is. And now I'm counting how many body lengths that represents. 1, well, 1.5, wait, 1.5, 1. Yeah. So I want to make sure that when I sketch it, that ear, measuring that right here, from the edge here, there's 1, so I'm marking that. 1, and then really just another half-ish, like out here in terms of proportion. So you get let's get our other shape in here. Let's just do an oblong shape and then fill in the details. Then we're going to do a shape here where the wings folded. And those are the proportions. So now we've got this going in here, and we can move forward feeling a little more comfortable. Well, I think what I'll do next then is rough in the little face, which sits, it's quite small. It's got this little puggy, kind of a heart shape, little nose. Now I'm coming up here because I'm following that, and I'm seeing that leaf shape. There are 2 of them. And then let's define these ears. Really long. little bit wavy on the sides. Do that a little wavy. And there's these feathery bits in here help. I'm sure that has to do with their sound echolocation, being able to gather that sound. That's how they hunt. So we want to make sure to leave white cute. Okay. And now we've got that fuzzy brown body. This is showing he's kind of crouched down. So we've got 1, 4, 5 toes. And that leg coming out. They have little claws. Excuse me. And then this is the forearm with the wing. Folded. And they've got his claw there. And we want to show kind of fuzzy there. And then his other tip of his other wing with the claw. Okay. And there's going to be some kind of looks like membrane in there, but I don't have a lot of data on that. So, oh, let's mark. So the white underparts here go up to the edge of that wing. So the brown, this is brown for, okay. Do a little inking. How's everybody doing? These are fun ones. Apparently the young ones are not as pigmented, I, I believe is what it said, and then they darken with age. See how I'm just dotting this in, because that's not a, you know, a solid line here. It's fur, so All right, so this is our Alpine long-eared bat. So this is number 5. Let's make sure I don't smear it. One of the drawbacks of not writing my headline first is that now I'm going to put my hand on my drawing. And that is Placotus macrobularis. I find that it helps to say them out loud, to spell them and write them. Oops. And so this is a tiny guy, like 1.6-inch forearm and up to 10 grams, 0.35 ounces, long ears, white under, and oops, lives high in the Alps and Pyrenees. In rocky crevices, rocky habitat, let's just call it. Cute. So we just need some basic brown on this guy. Now I mix a really pretty brown from the 3 primary colors. Takes a minute to get it just right. And then you can warm it up or cool it down. Here's a really pretty kind of, there's the first phase of brown I think I would put in. I'm going to get that damp first. So and its little face. And leave that nose is, I'm going to leave the nose for a little more pink. There, the brown barely goes around, like almost like a mask. And then we want to leave the white chin. More, I want to warm up the brown a little bit. I think I'm going to pull off some of that. And then really watered down. inside the ears, which I think you could actually also drop in a little pink. And we'll do just a little bit of shadow down here. And I'm going to need some really dark for the wing. There we go. Don't want it black, but I do want it really dark brown, but kind of that a rich brown so that it, you get that kind of membrane feel. Like so. All right. That was a quick one. Because I think we are going to move on. We've got, uh-oh, 3 more to do. Haha, in half an hour. Okay, what have we got next? Where are we going? Well, we're staying in kind of Central Europe, but we're moving a little bit more north to Germany, where there's this awesome beetle. This is a dung beetle, the door beetle, Geotrupes stercoraeus, about an inch long, and they're really dark, but they have a really cool bluish sheen, and we're going to get to paint that. It's super fun. And they are coprophagous, which is a great word. They feed on scat, the droppings of herbivorous animals, and they have a preference for horse, but they'll also do cattle dung and rotting fungi and other rotting things. They're either crepuscular in the evening or morning, early or late, or nocturnal. And then both sexes take part in digging a vertical burrow, sometimes as much as 20 inches deep. And then the female will dig horizontal brood chambers. And then she puts a little bit of dung in each and a single egg in each. Super cool. And so I'm going to do a quick sketch of the beetle. Like the one on the right is to show that color. And then we're going to have fun with coloring. So right now I'm just getting the overall shape. Yeah, you sort of use your pencil to feel out the shapes. And then I've got sort of a very complicated here, so I'm not going to like get too far into these details, because I'll be here forever. Feel free to do as much or as little as you like. Are these let's see, there's a coloration there, but the eyes are, actually, I'm not sure if we're seeing the eyes. Huh, that's going to be interesting. I'm not sure. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I do want to mark those bright spots. And then this is a cleft, and there's kind of a indentations. And then we've got two like little scallops.
Roseann, is it possible to have that dung beetle, all of his legs showing?
Yeah, there we go. How's that?
Thank
Better?
you
Yeah,
so much. That's
I was
great.
I
Thank
was
you.
focusing too much, trying to see his eye, but I think
Thank you.
yeah. And the legs are going to be hard, so you can go forever into detail on that. So just don't get too lost in detail. Or I mean, if you want to spend more time later, that's great. You can see I have a mark here that I probably don't really want, but that's okay. One of the things I have to always just keep telling myself is, stay loose, relax. I'm not doing a scientific illustration. I'm capturing the essence here of a species. So see there, it's okay if it goes a little wonky. I'm not doing scribing really strong lines here. I want to keep it fairly light. You don't have to count every single um, mark unless you're a scientific illustrator. Little divots here, and it's kind of a lip. That's what I'm trying to show. It's interesting that the face has a lot of hairs and things. I don't know if you call them hairs on beetles.
Roseanne, if you saw the underside of the beetle, would all those legs be coming off the thorax or the top part?
Yes, indeed. I did not put in the photo of the underside. Got a little too complicated. Ooh, I'm going direct ink on the leg here because I'm wanting to make up time. So I'm definitely testing myself here.
I'm just curious about the little endings at the end of the feet.
Yeah,
What are
they have I think most beetles have those. They're like little claws. Um, these
Yeah,
things,
that's correct.
that
Every insect has claws.
yes.
those?
Because if you pick up a beetle, and put it, we used to do this as kids, you'd collect them in the schoolyard and then you'd stick them to each other's clothing, because they stick so well. I am not going to spend a lot of time on the legs. I can go back later, or you all feel free to do as much as you want. Drawing to learn is about looking at all these structures and things. It's really fun, and you learn a lot, like, where do they attach it? You have the beetle in hand. If you're out in the field, then you can turn them over and look at all those interesting things. if you study their the sections of the legs, it's really interesting how they kind of teardrop together. But I'm not going to go completely there because I want to get to the color, which is really fun on this one. So if we're going to be able to go into some fun tips on how to show that really cool blue color. So one of the tricks here is I want to aim for kind of this look of the blue, since this one is kind of much more dull. The first thing you do is get a blue that's a really staining blue, like a phthalo blue, because you want it to stick to the paper and not be able to be lifted off. So let me get this over a little bit. And so I've got some phthalo blue here. Phthalo blue is not in my triad kit, because it's a pretty intense, look at that blue. And then just right now, paint the whole body with the staining blue. And then we're going to let it dry, and then we're going to paint over it in a black, which will be a lifting color because we're going to make our own. And then we'll be lifting off, the blue will show through. It's pretty cool. The black in places. You can lift it where you want it. Oop, little blooper. Anywhere you want there to be a hint of blue, you just put that on there now. But the trick is we do need to let it dry. That's kind of a rusty red and blue. All right, somebody needs to mute. Check your mutes, please. Okay, I'm going to leave that for the moment. And I'm going to write, well, hopefully this will dry. I am in Tucson in the summer, so this is the door beetle, or earth boring dung beetle. In Germany, I think it's the door beetle. We'll call it that. But the earth boring dung beetles are a family. And that's Geotrupes. Stercorarius. So these are about 1 inch long. And they're coprophagous. Meaning they feed on
Legs, please.
okay. There we go. And don't forget, these will be in the on the website too, so you can go back and replay this and get all the detail we need. But these are quick sketches, so you may not, want to get super detailed. So let's see. Is it dry enough? I think I can do that just to demo real quick so you can see. You'll want to mix a really good black from your, I mix mine from Indanthrone Blue and Burnt Sienna. We're going to need a fair amount. You want to mix it with a strong amount of the blue. So it's a bluey black, like so. And then just go ahead and paint over your blue. Like so. And after this dries, we'll be able to go in and actually lift off like that to create blue shine, like so. But I want it to dry a little bit more first, but you can see how you can create the blue lift. And if you want him to be even darker black, you would do another layer of black and you can blend it. So that works really well. So I'm going to move on though, and also need to clean this palette because it's got a ton of black on it. I made quite a bit. Getting like blue and black all over the place. Okay, that's fun. Let's keep moving because we've got 2 more to do. I'm also going to pull a scrap paper out of the back. Actually, I even have a paper towel. So when I turn the page, I don't smear. So let's find out where we're going next. We're going much farther east now. How fun is this? Amazing animal. This is the Saiga antelope. they are ancient animals. These are Pleistocene animals. They have been roaming across from Britain all the way across the Eurasian steppe since the late Pleistocene. So, but now the only populations left are in Western Russia and Kazakhstan. They're about 150 pounds, and the amazing bulbous nose is a bloated nostrils that filter out the dust of the steppes, will actually cool. There's a lot of blood vessels there, so it cools the blood in the summer, and then is a place to insulate and warm air coming in the frigid winters. And only the males have those incredible horns. So I'm going to put a paper towel down so I can not kill my, sometimes I forget, and yeah, then when you have you end up putting, oh, come on. Yep. Your blue black all over. Let's get this situated. There. All right, so the Saiga antelope. Let's zero in a little bit more. I'm going to do a I think I'm going to do him down here. I'm going to do the ground. And then I want to start with shape. Basically, I'm going to do the rectangle. With the piece missing, just so I can get my proportions, and then shape of the neck, and then let's play with that shape there. See how I'm doing that? Let me check my proportions. So from the ear to the tip of the nose, I'm measuring that. And then I'm counting 1, 2, only 2.5. So basically, here would be the ear, 1. So there's 1 from the edge here, 1, 2.5. That's about right. Probably pull this in more. Now I can do these shapes and feel a little more confident. And then let's make sure I've got make their legs long enough. So there's that leg. I'm measuring the straight leg on the front from the base to the shoulder, not the shoulder, but say the bottom of the belly. Oh, interestingly, that's about the same distance as here. So measure that. And look at that. That's about right. We got it. So I'm okay with the belly being right here. So there's the leg coming down, going out. Belly. Oh, that belly really comes down more. One of the things you want to do is pull that flap of skin up there, because that belly is coming out of here, and then the other leg is like so. Just rough it in. It's walking in water, so we don't have to draw hooves. Then you've got, so here's the neck coming in. Let's just do a straight line for now. We can worry about the knee and feet later. And then there's this kind of that shelf right here. And then we've got the neck fur. See how we're sort of building an antelope out of the shapes. Doesn't really have much of a tail. And then here's our ear. And you want just a little hint of an ear over here. And let's draw kind of a circle to mark that eye socket like that. It's just sort of I want that bulbous part there. And then we want that horn coming right out here. I can tease out those shapes a little more. And then you've got his crazy nose coming down. You've got 1, 2 enlarged nostrils. It really looks like a Pleistocene animal, doesn't it? I mean, it's great, like out of a Star Wars, should be totally in a Star Wars. And then let's place that eye. There. And I think we've got the essence of this critter. Really fascinating. Kind of shaggy in here. Get that shelf of fur. This is a quick sketch, so we can't go into huge detail. This is, wow, oh, I forgot I forgot a leg. That's funny. It's like something's wrong here. I'm not going to worry too much about the exact detail. Didn't quite get that relationship right, did I? So you can see where I could have done a better job placing this a little farther forward because I forgot it and then I was kind of rushing. Want to darken this up with paint later. Okay. Oh, and then you'll want to add you want to make sure you show the spirals on those translucent horns. They're pretty incredible. So they are hunted for those horns. I didn't leave quite enough room for the other ear, so I'm gonna show the ear kind of poking out this way. So I think I'm going to move on for now. But I think I've got mostly the essence. Oh, you know what we need is you need to show this other kind of bulging. There we go. That's what we were missing. There's the other structure here, that eye structure, the bulge on the other side. So that really helped. So let's get our data in here, and then we need to hit our last animal because we're actually running out of time. I was a little slow today. So this is the Saiga antelope. Saiga tatarica, which is really cool. Nice. Okay. Well, who's our next and final European animal? Well, we're going to go all the way back down to the Mediterranean. And I had no idea about this. This is crazy. The Mediterranean sperm whale. I had no idea. There is actually a population that is genetically different. It's the same genus and species of Physeter macrocephalus, but it's genetically separate from the Atlantic population. They diverged a long time ago, but they are endangered because of loss of human activities. So there's only about 2,000 of them, and they eat mesopelagic squid that is mid-level, mid-pelagic, about 650 to 3,000 feet deep. It's the largest toothed whale and largest toothed predator. They average now about 52 feet long. They used to be much bigger until hunting pressure really caused a decline in their size. And the head is a third of the body. They also make the loudest vocalization of any animal, 236 decibels. And as we probably all know, the head is filled with the spermaceti organ, which is a sound generating system filled with sperm oil, which is what they were hunted for. Also, their guts have ambergris in them, which was used in the perfume industry. And they are known to sleep in a vertical position, head up or down. So this one, oops, pop. We will, how are we going to do this? I think vertically, so I can fit it in. So let's mark, here's the head. And I'm going to come up here. And so I'll want the tail up here. So let's just do a quick, make sure I got my proportions right. So that head is going to be, let's zoom in for a minute. There's the fin, there's the eye, there's the mouth. I want to mark that. That's a third sorry. A third to the beginning of that pectoral fin, right? So I think that's what it's called. 1, 2, yep, 3, exactly. So if I want to get about a third here. 1, 2, 3, then the pectoral fin, I'm going to want to place here. And there's the mouth. Go. And now where's that eye? Let's get that right. Is right about here. There's kind of an eyebrow and then so nice. A little bit less complicated to draw than some of our others. Should have saved that gray. All that paint that I mixed. So you can have a lot of fun with coloring on this one. So let's see, this is number 8. And it's the Mediterranean. Oop. Oh, that's why it's hard. I still had my paper towel under there. Okay, now I can write a little bit more easily. And of course, I almost added 2 T's. And that is Bisator macrocephalus, large head. Distinct population. From the Atlantic. Endangered. The population is endangered as a regional population. And this is the largest toothed whale. And let's say about averages 52 feet long. Nice. So we can have a lot of fun kind of with coloring. Probably won't be able to get to a lot of it because I'm going to want to do a really dark blue wash to begin with, maybe drop in a tiny bit of burnt sienna to gray it up. But I still want it to be bluey, and I'll just do a wash because then I'm going to come in and add shadow and details You know, for example, we would want to be you'll want to lay in darker on the belly to show shadow, but I don't want to do that until this dries and I can control the whoops, see right now I messed up by touching it before it dries. You'll end up with a hard line there. So let that dry and then we'll come back with darks later. But for now, we have reached the end of our program for today. Thank you so much. This was fun. I love researching these. It takes many, many hours. So if you appreciate, I always enjoy seeing a few tips. Anything helps. So you can go to exploringoverland.com tip jar. You can also check out our new magazine. And that was so much fun. Let me switch to gallery view so we can kind of say thank you. And I hope you had fun because those were some really interesting, the critters are always so interesting. And thank you to everybody who sends me suggestions. I've already gotten some really fun ones, including like one of the cutest animals I've ever seen in Australia we'll be doing. Thank you, Sherry. I think you sent me that. So wonderful. I hope everyone is getting more comfortable doing quick sketching and being kind to yourself too. It's like, wow, these are hard. That eagle threw me for a loop, right? I was like, oh my gosh. But in the end, it looked like an eagle finally. So have fun, keep practicing and share your pages. Oh, thank you, Jolanda. Awesome. Well done. Oh, I like that you picked the one of the other the grown up mature eel. Nice. I like that. So share your images on the forum. I'll send you a link so everybody can see what we end up with. I'll finish my pages. I'll post the recording probably tomorrow. Oh, you can see how the beetle is, you know, now that it's darkened up, you can see how that's gonna really be cool. I'll re-wet it and pull off using a tissue. You pull off, or you can use a dry brush, pull off some of the black to make the blue pop. And that's how you do iridescent beetles and things. If you had a green one, you would do green, or say it was yellow underneath with green on top, you would put your yellow and then paint your green on top and then pull that off. Just keep experimenting. It's really fun to do iridescence. It's super fun. So, all right, everybody, have a wonderful Saturday. I hope everyone is going to do something fun, get out in nature and sketch. Go practice. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you
It
so
was
much.
awesome.